Today we're going to talk about choking, and no, this is not something that the UK government needs to ban, because we're talking about choking in Valorant, and really there can only be one team that this video is therefore about, and that is gentlemates, because for those of you who don't know, gentlemates, in their first game of Stage 2, they played against Foot, and they were up 12-6, and they managed to lose 6 in a row and lose in overtime. In their second game against Team Heretics, they were up 12-4 on Corrode, and managed to lose 10 rounds in a row and lose 14-12. And then in their most recent game against BBL, they were up 12-5 and managed to lose 9 rounds in a row to lose 14-12. So yes, today we're going to talk about gentlemates and the art of the choke. And you might think this is a purely psychological thing for mates, but there are little tips and tricks that you can use even in your ranked games that will help you close out some of these situations, right? So in a situation like this where it's 12-6, there are some differences to when it's any other score. Because when you're on 12, you only need 1 round to win. And so that's going to change the way that you manage your economy and your ult economy. So let's start off with this round. It's 12-6 to mates and this comeback is about to start. And I just want you to notice here how both teams use their ults.
Victory since stage 1 began. They won the first match versus Liquid, didn't manage anything else. Now look to go again, but CNED is in their way. Mini, Bekaj have already given them the advantage back within the first 10 seconds of the round, and now Zeus has hit another. It has come back also on just 2 HP, both duelists incredibly low.
This is it. CNED, he gets out. He doesn't! The gate crashes way too close, but the ult keeps him alive. This man is dancing with death, trying to take the lead. But for now, it's Foot locked out of the side. They've got a player from every direction. They've got a showstopper fired through and come back down. CNED tripling up with the off.
So there's a couple things to note here. Let's first start off talking about mates and their ult usage, right? Because we do see them pop the silver ult. And to be fair, it does manage to get a kill. But this is a really bad silver ult given the situation, right? And obviously we know, like, you know, that they do end up losing this game and whatever, but they are going to silver ult, and even though it gets a kill, right, obviously when you pop that silver ult, you don't know you're going to get a kill. But the reason this isn't the best ult is, one, your chances in this round of winning it are not that high, even coming into the round, right? And the reason for that is because Foot have got all of their ults, right? So your chances of winning this round are just quite small in general, right? Because look at that, Foot have got every single ult online. So we're already using just one ult in a round where our chances aren't that great, right? Just because of what happens. And the other thing is as well, of course, when you're on 12, you know that Foot have to use their ults, right? They're not going to wait for the opportune moment to get the most value out of any ult that they can. They're just going to pop their ults because you're on 12 and they can't afford to lose the round, right? So as soon as we get into this 3v3, yeah, they've got Yoruwolf, Fade ult, Raze ult. That's pretty scary. Well, yeah, they're going to use every single one of them, and they do. And they end up winning the round in a, you know, and a 4v3 becomes a 3v0 in Foot's favor, right? Because they pop 3 ults. So there's two sides to that coin, right? When you're on 12 and you have a big lead, you shouldn't just be sending ults out in rounds where your chances may be on the best. And conversely, you know that your opponent is going to use their ults basically as soon as they can, because they have to, right? There's no point losing the game with that ult still in hand. So for instance, when we're coming into this round for gentlemates and we look at the economy, your economy is fine, right? You can still buy in the next round, but you know that they're going to be using these ults, right? Your goal this round almost should be to just try and get out, you know, as many of these ults as possible, and then we can save our ults together here, mates, and start, you know, waiting for us to get this breach ult online, start to get this neon ult online, and then start comboing these 3 ults together, right, whilst they've got none in hand. Instead, what gentlemates were doing was this.
He's still got a big opportunity to do some damage, and it will be a very direct play. Brought through, he's being caught ulting by Yedage. 1,000 is not where he's looking to.
So yeah, we're neon ulting on an eco round here. We're actually one off breach ult, and you know, funnily enough, exactly what I said has happened, right? So we started to build up this Viper Spit, right? We're one off breach ult here. We've got neon ult. You know, we could even add in an omen ult next round as well, right? And what I said has happened. Foot now have no ults, right? Like again, they are just going to use their ults because you're on 12. So instead of using this neon ult in this round, why not just wait a round, right? Wait until we get breach ult. Maybe we can build towards this Viper Spit, this omen ult, whilst Foot have none, and just use 4 ults in one. You know, we could have saved that silver ult as well, and just use them all together and just close out a round that we should have a really good chance of winning. And now we can come to the Team Heretics game as well, where in this one, we are actually going to see, in this round, 12-6, that mates are going to use multiple ults here. They're going to use both the Fade ult, Viper Spit, and Vice ult all in this round. So that's good, right? Hey, we're using 3 ults in 1 round. That's good. You know, the problem with this situation, though, is that Team Heretics also have a Yoru ult, Fade ult, and Waylay ult as well. Right? So again, when you look at this situation, you know that, like, hey, they're going to be using their ults. They're more desperate for this situation than us. But those ults that they've got are also quite good, and so it can lead to some situations like this.
Initiation of Vekash to really set them up on the site. How much influence is he going to have on the play? Heretics playing for a full retake, still yet to suss out the positioning of Prox, who is late at the bottom of mid. And that Omen ult now just calls into question almost every position on the map.
Time to jump. And a little off angle in heaven with that smoke that's going down, but that Viper's Pit is being pulled through right now, as well as more ultimates, and many of them exactly knows what Karmic is, but he can't capitalise. But still, Heretics come out on top. Oh no, it's dropped in the last moment. His Woot now walks in towards site, but they can't find Prox, and that's the biggest problem, is he's up on heaven, and a chance to drop in. The smoke has allowed him the chance, and that's Boo's smoke. It's worked against his own teammate as Prox walks through, doesn't have doesn't know exactly where he is, and well, he'll be able to find.
So ultimately they did end up losing that round, but then if we skip ahead to the very next round, they then again do this.
I think that's something we need to mention with gentlemates adverse to Heretics. Maybe you've not been in this position too many times before. How quickly can you learn to turn those around?
One player to be watching has come back this round.
And so again, mates here in this situation, they use, you know, the Neon ult. It doesn't go great for them. But I also want to talk about the eco standpoint here, right? In terms of what they've done. Because as you can see here, you know, they've gone for what you might call a standard eco in this spot, right? They've bought Stinger with full shields, couple Sheriffs, you know, they're going for the Neon ult with full shields. But this is actually wrong as well, right? Let me explain why. Because when you're on 12 with a big lead, like mates were in all of these games, as soon as this situation happens, your opponent's economy stops mattering. What do I mean by that? Well, essentially, Team Heretics, if you think about it, the only way the game continues is if Team Heretics win. So, for the game to keep continuing, Team Heretics have to keep winning. Well, if Team Heretics keep winning, their economy is probably going to be fine. Essentially, doing damage to Team Heretics' economy, or whoever, you know, is losing, like, it doesn't matter. So that means that when you're on 12 with a big lead, you only need to focus on yourself. Right? Your economy is the only one that matters now. Like, doing damage to their economy, whatever, that doesn't mean anything. It's useless. For instance, if you were playing on Abyss and have like a 12-5 lead, and you need to eco in any round, you should just jump off the map at that point. And the thing is, in this situation as well, mates should not be buying anything. They should come into this round with classics, no shields, just looking to die, essentially, right? Doesn't matter. The reason for that is, again, you're trying to maximize rounds, right? So you don't want to be in a situation where you're going eco, and then buy, and then eco, and buy. Why not just take one massive eco, completely give up a round, right? So like a full eco, and then you should have enough money to then buy, and buy, and buy, right? Because you've just completely given up on one round. Right, that is a better idea when you're in this situation up on 12, because again, your opponent's economy does not matter. Basically, all of this is to say, what you are trying to do is maximize your chances in certain rounds, right? You should be like pinpointing, this is the round that we win, we've got 5 ults, they've got 0 ults, and you're just trying to go all in on one round. And so what that means is, if, for instance, you find yourselves in 4v5s or a player down in certain situations, you want to be more conservative. You want to be saving more. You want to be saving your ults, certainly, and not doing this.
We talked about the stakes. As these rounds build up, as Deja Vu is fresh in mates' mind, they know that their position in the franchise could be out of their control. They would need to win both of their games. I think it's GX and Vitality. Comebacks dealt with immediately. We talked about the head-to-head of him and Levin. A very valuable pick in a buy round. There it is, though. The trade back, but Levin is quick to keep numbers in their favor. The timing, perfect for Sociable. It's a little slow to start, but he gets there in the end, as does Levin. It's both of them to close this out for BBL. That's a buy round from mates, and only one pick on the 100.